Mia, quick. Someone asks you in English, "So, what did you do yesterday?" Go, right now. Answer me.
It was good?
See, that's it. That's the whole problem.
I panicked. You put me on the spot. But, okay, that's genuinely what happens, isn't it? Someone asks about yesterday and this whole day full of things. Coffee, a phone call, a small disaster, a nice moment. All of it collapses into two tiny words. It was good.
And then silence. The conversation just sits there, waiting for more. And you have more, a whole day of more. But the English won't come out.
Ugh, it's such a specific frustration. In my own language, I could tell you a 5-minute story about yesterday. Funny, detailed, alive. I'd act out the annoying phone call, do the voices, describe the weather. But in English, it was good. Full stop. Like my whole day got compressed into a tiny gray box, and all the interesting parts got left outside.
And the worst part is, the other person can tell there's more. They can see you have a story in there somewhere, but without the words, it stays locked inside, and you both just move on. And that's exactly what we're fixing today. Hi, everyone. I'm Leo.
And I'm Mia. Welcome to Perspective Peak. Today, we're learning how to talk about yesterday in English, how to turn a flat, empty, "it was good" into a real little story with feelings, details, and a few natural phrases that make you sound clear and confident.
And this matters so much because "what did you do yesterday" is one of the most common questions in all of English. Small talk, job interviews, new friends, co-workers on Monday morning. Everyone asks it. And if your only answer is good or nothing much, you miss 100 little chances to actually connect. This is what Perspective Peak is here for, growing your everyday English and your confidence together.
And don't worry about the English today, friends. This is friendly B1 level. Clear sentences, simple words, spoken at a comfortable speed. Every time we use a stronger word, we'll stop and explain it right away. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be here. Let's grow together.
Okay, Mia, let's start at the very beginning. Why is "it was good" such a weak answer? Because it's not wrong, right? It's correct English.
It's perfectly correct. And that's the tricky part. Here's my favorite way to think about it. Imagine someone asks to see a photo of your holiday, and you hand them a single gray square. Not a photo, just gray. Technically, it's a picture, but it shows them nothing. It has no beach, no sunset, no smile, no story. "It was good" is that gray square. It's an answer with all the color removed.
Oh, so good isn't a lie, it's just empty. It's a photo with nothing in it.
Exactly. And here's the sad part. Your yesterday was not gray. It had color in it. You had a coffee that was too hot, a message that made you smile, a moment where you forgot why you walked into a room. Real, colorful little things. But when you say "it was good," you paint over all of it with gray. The color was there, you just didn't show it. And here's the key idea today, and it's a freeing one. You don't need big, fancy words to fix this. You just need to put a little bit of color back in. One detail, one feeling, one result. 3 small things turn a gray square into a real picture. And by the end of today, you'll know exactly how.
Beautiful. Okay, let me tell everyone the story that taught me this. The day I answered like a robot.
A robot?
A full robot. So a while back, I met some new people, and one of them asked me, friendly and warm, "So what did you get up to yesterday?" And I wanted to sound smart. So I said in this flat little robot voice, "Yesterday, I woke up, I worked, I ate lunch, I finished my tasks, I went to sleep."
Oh no, that's a robot reading its own diary. Day complete, human, rested, beep.
Beep, boop, tasks finished. And I watched the person's face just freeze. Polite little smile. Nothing to say back. because I'd given them a list, not a story. There was nothing for them to grab onto, nothing to ask about. It's like handing someone a shopping receipt and expecting a conversation. And here's the science, and it surprised me. Researchers who study conversation have found that people don't connect through information, they connect through little hooks, a feeling, a small surprise, a detail. Those are the things another person can respond to. A flat list gives them zero hooks. A story with one feeling in it gives them something to hold.
Oh, so the problem wasn't my grammar, it was that I gave the other person nothing to reply to.
That's exactly it. My sentences were grammatically perfect and socially empty. Think about it. If I say, I ate lunch, what can you possibly reply? Oh, good? The conversation dies. But if I say, I had the most amazing lunch with an old friend, now you have 3 things to ask about. What did you eat? Which friend? What did you talk about? And here's the fix, and it's so simple. I learned to add one word, eventful. Eventful means full of things happening. So instead of the robot list, I could say, honestly, yesterday was more eventful than I expected. And boom, suddenly there's a hook. The other person leans in. Oh, really? What happened? One word opened the whole door.
So one good word invites the next question instead of ending the conversation.
Every time. The lesson is don't report your day like a robot listing tasks. Give it one word with some color in it and let the other person pull the story out of you. Eventful, busy, quiet, surprising. Pick one and watch the conversation open. For learners, this is the whole secret. You don't need long sentences. You need one hook.
One hook. I love that. Okay, my turn. And my story is about the magic of one little phrase that made me sound instantly more natural. The phrase turned out.
Turned out? Tell me.
So here's my scenario. A few weeks ago, I was dreading a work meeting. I thought it would be long, boring, painful, you know the kind. And afterwards, a friend asked how my day went. And I wanted to say something better than it was fine. So I tried this. You know what? The meeting turned out better than I expected.
Ooh, that does sound natural. So turned out is about the result.
Exactly. Turned out means the final result was a certain way, especially when it surprises you. You expected one thing, but the result was different. The meeting turned out well. The day turned out to be really nice. It turned out better than I thought. And here's why it's so powerful for learners. It adds a little story shape. There's a before, I expected boring, and an after, it was actually good. That tiny gap between expectation and result is what makes it interesting.
Oh, so turned out secretly tells a mini story. I thought X, but actually Y.
That's the magic of it. It's 2 words that contain a whole little plot twist. And people love a plot twist, even a small one. Compare the trip was nice, flat, gray, with the trip turned out to be amazing. Now there's a surprise, a journey. Same trip, but one has a shape and one doesn't.
And it works for bad to good and good to bad, right?
Both directions. I was so excited, but it turned out to be a bit disappointing. Or the happy one. I was dreading it, but it turned out wonderful. Either way, you're telling the listener there was a surprise here, and that's what makes them curious. The lesson is, when the result of something surprised you, reach for turned out. It's a tiny phrase that adds a big feeling of story, and it makes your English sound instantly more like a real speaker and less like a textbook.
So good. Okay, quick pause because I want to tell everyone where we're going, because so far, we've talked about days that were busy or surprising, but in a few minutes, we're going to solve the hardest one of all. How do you talk about a yesterday when, honestly, nothing happened? A totally boring, quiet, nothing day. Because that's when most learners freeze completely. And there's a beautiful, simple trick for it. So stay with us.
Ooh, the boring day problem. Everyone needs that one. But first, let's talk about one of the most useful little phrases in all of English for telling stories about people. Ran into.
Ran into? Like crashing into someone?
Not with your body, although that can happen too. To run into someone means to meet them by chance, with no plan. You're at the supermarket and suddenly there's an old friend. You didn't plan it. I ran into an old friend yesterday.
Oh, that's so useful. So it's the surprise meeting.
Exactly. And here's a scenario to make it stick. Imagine yesterday you were just buying bread, thinking about nothing, and you turned a corner and there was someone you hadn't seen in years. Your whole day changed. Now, a robot would say, I saw a friend, but a real speaker says, I ran into an old friend and we ended up talking for an hour. And notice I snuck in another gem there too. Ended up.
Oh, ended up. What does that one do?
Ended up means something happened that wasn't your original plan. I planned to stay home, but I ended up going out. We only meant to have coffee, but we ended up talking all evening. It's the phrase for when life takes you somewhere you didn't expect. And these two together, ran into and ended up, are pure story fuel. I ran into an old friend and we ended up having dinner. Look at that. 2 phrases and suddenly you have a whole little adventure.
So ran into is the surprise and ended up is where the surprise took you.
Beautifully put. The surprise and where it led. And you can chain them together for a whole story. I ran into an old friend, we ended up getting coffee, and it turned out to be the best part of my week. 3 phrases and now you're telling a genuine little tale, not reciting a list. The lesson is, real life is full of unplanned moments, and English has perfect little phrases for them. Ran into for the chance meeting, and ended up for the unexpected result. Learn these 2 and you can tell the story of almost any surprising day. For learners, these are gold. They make your ordinary days sound like the small adventures they actually are.
And here's what I love. These phrases make you sound fluent even when your grammar is simple, because native speakers use them constantly. When you say, I ended up staying late, you sound like someone who lives in English, not someone who studied it from a book.
Exactly. They're like a secret password. Use ended up once in a conversation and people think, oh, this person really speaks English.
So good. Okay, now the boring day, the one I promised. Let me tell you about my most nothingy day ever and how I learned to talk about it anyway.
The famous nothing day.
The famous nothing day. So one Sunday, I did nothing. I stayed home, I drank tea, I looked out the window, I moved a plant from one table to another table, and felt that was enough activity for one day.
A big day for the plant.
A huge day for the plant. And then someone asked, what did you do yesterday? And I panicked because the honest answer was nothing. And nothing feels embarrassing. But here's what I learned. You don't need a dramatic day to have a good answer. You just need small, warm details. So instead of nothing, I learned to say, honestly, yesterday was pretty quiet. I stayed home, caught up on some rest, and took it easy.
Caught up on. And that made nothing sound intentional and nice.
Exactly. To catch up on something means to finally do something you didn't have time for earlier. I caught up on sleep. I caught up on some reading. I caught up on housework. Suddenly, the day isn't empty. It's a day where you chose to rest and refill. And here's the science which I love. Researchers have found that we judge our own quiet days far more harshly than others do. You think nothing happened, how boring. But the other person just hears a calm, restful day, which honestly sounds lovely to a stressed person. The boredom is only in your own head.
So a quiet day isn't a failure to report, it's just a different kind of story?
Exactly. A calm story is still a story. Think about it. If a very busy, exhausted friend told you, "Yesterday I stayed home, drank tea, and caught up on rest," you wouldn't think, "How boring." You'd think, "That sounds amazing, I'm jealous." A peaceful day is a gift, not a gap. The lesson is, never apologize for a quiet yesterday. Just add small, honest details. Quiet, relaxed, caught up on rest, took it easy, and suddenly your nothing day sounds peaceful and human, not empty. Because I did nothing closes the door, but it was quiet, I took it easy, and caught up on some sleep opens it gently. For learners, this removes so much fear. You never again have to panic when yesterday was calm.
So good. And there's one last piece I want to add because it's the thing that turns a good answer into a great one. It's the difference between reporting your day and reflecting on it.
Ooh, reporting versus reflecting. What's the difference?
So reporting is just saying what happened. I worked, I met a friend, I went home. Facts in a line. But reflecting is adding what it meant to you now, looking back. And there's a beautiful phrase for it. Look back on. When I look back on yesterday, I'm glad I went. Looking back, it was a good day. Look back on means to remember something and think about how you feel about it now.
So look back on turns a fact into a feeling. It adds you to the story.
Exactly. And here's the science, and it's lovely. Researchers have found that when you reflect on an experience, not just list it, but ask, how do I feel about that now? You actually understand and remember it more deeply. Reflecting isn't just better English, it's better thinking. And there's another gem that pairs with it, worthwhile. Worthwhile means worth the time and effort, even if it was tiring. So the perfect ending to any story is, it was a long day, but when I look back on it, it felt really worthwhile.
Oh, that's a beautiful sentence. It has effort, feeling, and meaning all in one.
That's the whole recipe. The lesson is, don't just report your day like a newsreader. Reflect on it. Add one small line about how it felt or what it meant, using look back on and worthwhile. That's the frosting that turns a plain list into a story with a heart. For learners, this is the final touch that makes you sound not just fluent, but thoughtful.
So good, Mia. Okay, peak performers, let's turn all of this into something you can actually use. Our step-by-step action plan. 4 steps to talk about yesterday like a real story. Step 1. Start with one color word, not a list. Here's what to do. Before you say anything else, sum up your whole yesterday in one word that has a feeling in it. Eventful, busy, quiet, surprising, relaxed. Why does this work? Because as we learned, that one word is a hook. It invites the other person to ask, "Oh, what happened?" instead of ending the conversation. For example, instead of "Yesterday I worked and ate," start with "Yesterday was pretty eventful." A common mistake is jumping straight into a robot list of actions. Don't. Lead with the color word and let the story follow.
So good. Step 2, use the before and after phrase, turned out. Here's what to do. Whenever a result surprised you, use turned out to show the gap between what you expected and what happened. Why does this work? Because that little gap is a mini story, and stories are far more interesting than flat facts. For example, instead of the day was okay, say the day turned out better than I expected. A common mistake is only describing the result with no expectation. Turned out quietly adds the whole I thought X, but actually Y, and that's what makes people lean in.
Love it. Step 3, add one phrase for the unplanned. Ran into, or ended up. Here's what to do. If anything yesterday was unexpected, use these phrases to bring it alive. Why does this work? Because unplanned moments are the most interesting parts of any day, and these phrases are exactly how real speakers tell them. For example, I ran into a friend and we ended up getting lunch. A common mistake is flattening a surprise into I saw a friend. Don't waste your best material. Give the surprise its proper words, and the moment sparkles.
And step 4, end by reflecting, not just reporting. Here's what to do. After you say what happened, add one small sentence about how it felt or what it meant. When I look back on it, I'm glad I went. It was tiring, but it felt worthwhile. Why does this work? Because reporting is a list of facts, but reflecting turns it into a story with a heart. Look back on means to remember something and think about it now. For example, end with, honestly, it turned out to be a really worthwhile day. A common mistake is stopping right after the facts. Add the feeling at the end. That's the frosting on the cake, and it's what people remember.
4 steps. Start with a color word, use turned out, add ran into or ended up, and finish by reflecting. That's a complete little story machine.
A story machine. And notice not one of those steps needs fancy vocabulary or a dramatic, exciting life. They just help you show the color that was already there in your ordinary day.
Exactly. Okay, peak performers, it's time for everyone's favorite part, the extended vocabulary corner. 5 powerful words and phrases from today, with examples from both of us. Mia, word 1.
Word number 1, eventful. Eventful means full of things happening, perfect for a busy or surprising day. Leo, give us an example.
Sure. Yesterday was more eventful than I expected. 3 different plans, all in one afternoon.
And mine, it was an eventful week, but a good one.
Great word. Word number 2, turned out. Turned out means the final result was a certain way, often as a surprise. It quietly tells a before and after story.
My example, I was nervous about the trip, but it turned out to be wonderful.
And mine, the recipe looked hard, but it turned out fine.
Word number 3, ran into. To run into someone means to meet them by chance, with no plan.
My example, I ran into an old classmate at the station yesterday.
And mine, guess who I ran into at the market this morning?
Word number 4, a really useful one, manage to. Manage to means you succeeded in doing something, especially when it wasn't easy. It quietly shows there was a little struggle and you won.
My example, it was a busy day, but I managed to finish everything.
And mine, I was exhausted, but I managed to go for my walk anyway.
And mine, helping my friend move took hours, but it was completely worthwhile.
5 powerful words, eventful, turned out, ran into, managed to, and worthwhile. Use even one this week and it's yours forever. And notice, you learned them all inside little stories about real days. That's why they'll stick.
And here's a little challenge that's also practice. Tonight, describe your yesterday out loud in English using today's pattern. Yesterday was, then what happened, then how it felt. Yesterday was pretty eventful. I ran into a friend and managed to finish my work. When I look back on it, it turned out to be a really worthwhile day. That's the whole perspective peak magic. Grow the English and the confidence together.
So here's the big lesson of today, friends. Yesterday is never really just good. It's a small story, full of color. You just need a few simple words to bring it out. Start with one word that has a feeling in it. Add a surprise with turned out to or ran into, and end by reflecting on what it meant. You don't need a dramatic, exciting life. You just need to show the color that was already there.
And please, be patient and gentle with yourself. If today the best you can do is it was good, that's okay. That's where everyone starts. Just add one small detail this week, one color word, one feeling at the end. That's enough. Your ordinary days are full of little stories, and you're slowly learning the words to tell them.
And tell us in the comments, how was your yesterday? Try today's pattern in English. Start with yesterday was, add what happened, and finish with how it felt. Mistakes and all, this is the perfect place to practice. We can't wait to read every single one and reply to you.
Subscribe, hit the bell, and start thinking deeper while you see higher. Keep learning, keep growing.
See you next week on Perspective Peak.
Perspective peak, yeah, we set the pace. Moving to the top, we win the race. We win the race. Perspective peak, start thinking deeper while you see higher.